Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Happy Wednesday.
Ruben Bressler.
I need more of that deep voice Evan Irwin with doing the intros. Like, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics.
Oh,
That's what I need.
That's right.
Okay. I need some more of that chest hair, Ruben. What's going on there?
It's hot in my house.
It's very warm.
Yeah.
Also, just, letting them
Also,
have it.
I need the fans. The fans need to. Now I feel also.
There you go. We also get started with our trumpet blast. You can get one if you support us at our highest level on Patreon. We don't have one, but we do have a giveaway, a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com, ! raffle in the chat for your chance to win, and subscribe first to get 2 chances to win. Dubs chances right there. $50, CoolStuffInc.com could be yours. We move here to our first pick. Our first pick tonight is that Wizards has announced a bunch of VODs. These are video on demand. These are canned shows. These are shows that the people are producing and uploading later. This would be the eSports VODs, with Monday being Profiles, Tuesday Outside Notes, Wednesday Rogue Refinery, Friday is Advantage Bar, and Tuesday through Friday is going to have the Magic Minute, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I actually watched some of the Rogue Refinery that came out today with Paul Cheon, and it was super cool. I actually really liked it, the way they kind of covered the deck and how they took the song enchantment that you...
Song of Creation,
thank you, where you draw 2 cards when you play a spell and yada yada.
Yeah.
They had a really cool deck around that, how it worked, what's good, what's bad. It was really, really sweet. I was impressed.
Cool.
So they're definitely putting some time and money and effort into making these things really awesome, and I've been really pleased with it so far.
Nice, good quality, and I'm glad to see these people being given something to do, quite honestly, because, I know that a lot of them took a hit when these events were canceled, and so if they're being paid to do this and they're able to recoup some of that lost income, I think that's a really good thing. It keeps their name and Wizards' name in people's minds and in their mouths, and so that's even better, and so I think this is a good thing.
The ones that I've seen were Ashlyn Rose did a little bit, which was obviously very good, and that was the first one I clicked on because I show with her. The Becca Scott Magic Minute was really
great.
Impressive, just from reading a teleprompter perspective. I mean, Becca's just a pro, just so good at what she does. And obviously Gavin now. I don't know if this is part of the same family of shows.
I don't think it is.
But he is also doing his own thing that's similar, not the same, I suppose. But, there's lots of at-home video being produced in Magic the Gathering, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I'll put up, Gavin had a tweet here, we're going to get to it a little bit later, might as well run it here, where he's hosting Good Morning Magic 3 times a week. This morning, he was playing what we would describe many times as Pai Gow.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Pai Gow.
Pai Gow with 3 piles and stuff, and they call it Blitz Magic or something.
Right.
You know why? Because Pai Gow's the worst name of all time. So.
Well, Pai Gow, you don't want to use the gambling connotation when you're describing Magic.
Well, also, it's just... Right, Mark.
Also, it doesn't really describe what you're doing. Yes,
yeah, it has nothing to do. It sounds, it sounds weird.
I guess.
So, at
Makes
least
me
for
hungry.
Magic. Exactly. It sounds like a Chinese food. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just want to make you think of. The point is, Good Morning Magic, hosted by Gavin Verhey, is awesome, and I love his videos that he's made so far. His TikTok stuff was great. We're definitely entering a weird kind of phase of Magic media, really, as it kind of morphs itself around not being able to get out of the freaking house and not being able to go to these large events. It's really interesting.
So the Advantage Bar is a talk show? What is it?
I believe
It appears to be, yeah. It's Maria, Riley, Cedric, and
Corey Baumeister.
Corey Baumeister, yeah.
All right, cool. Does it take place at a bar, like a virtual bar?
No.
That's an opportunity missed. They should have a drink of the day at the
Well, I don't think
bar.
Wizards wants to be near alcohol,
I mean,
if they can not be, they won't be.
They could have a show called Wizards of the Toast. Oh man. They should definitely lean into. This is like when they didn't want to go to Vegas for so long.
We need something We need something like Hot Ones. That's what we need in Magic.
Yeah.
We need, brought to you by like First We Draft or whatever. Like we need something.
Yeah.
Like
I
Hot
like
Ones,
that.
or that one talk show where it's like you can do, you can admit to a truth, or you eat something hideous like a tentacle or like a locust or something. Yeah.
Aaron, you've been looking for something to fill the hole in your heart that was left by the deck tease for a decade now, 2 decades, maybe 100 years.
Am I the one for? Yeah.
It can't be peach rings because those are too easy to eat. We need something. We need a more threatening food.
I like chicken wings.
Yeah, we need a threatening food to threaten your guests with.
There you go. So that said, those new shows are cool. I hope they do well. Let's keep moving on here to Gather the Townsfolk. Now it's the Everything Sucks update. We're not going to use the I words.
And that's literally
words.
on the show notes. It says
right.
Everything Sucks Roundup.
That's right. As in-store play suspension has been extended until at least June 1st.
Yep.
DreamHacks has been canceled. DreamHack has been canceled, rather.
Many of them have been. There's like a half dozen a year, and I think 3 were canceled. Is that accurate?
Wow. Sounds about right. The Arena Open Series of the DreamHack was canceled.
Summer,
Evo,
Dallas, and Montreal. And Valencia was postponed. Okay.
Sure. And Evo was canceled, and that sucks because I'm a huge fighting game nerd, and I love to watch good players play fighting games, and that's not going to happen, and that sucks. CFB is resuming shipping, which is happening. Cool.
And they described a little bit how they're going to do that, right?
Yep, he says, we are using a small crew of team members and taking stringent precautions to maintain a safe working environment. The health and safety of our employees is paramount, and the social distancing and sanitization procedures are implementing to help safeguard that. Yeah. They do say due to the circumstances, there may be delays, but we anticipate shipping Ikoria and C20 pre-orders. Yeah.
There was there's a dice manufacturer called Wormwood that has a YouTube show that they produce called Worm Life, and they're a small manufacturer, and they are obviously hugely impacted by this, and they were going through their adventures of dealing with the epidemic, not only sort of turning some of their production into making masks and things, but also how social distancing at their warehouse works. And so I think that is an interesting blueprint for companies like, I don't have experience working at the Channel Fireball warehouse, but I can't imagine it's terribly different than working at either the Star City Games warehouse or the Tales of Adventure warehouse, where you have these like narrow hallways with magic card boxes, and you're going to be within 6 feet of another person. So I'm interested to see how they are able to maneuver, no pun intended, into this new world that we exist in.
Yeah, and Cool Stuff has been doing this stuff for a while now, and it's a thing. It's definitely changing the way we're doing a set release. Never done a set release sort of in this way. Trying to build complete sets is also kind of an issue to try to get all the cards just in the stacks or wherever you need them to go.
Right.
So it's taking a little bit longer. Again, we're running like 3 shifts now instead of just 2, so we can have people spaced throughout the day, and all that good stuff. So good luck to CFB in that.
Yeah.
Do note, the Theros, the Mythic Odysseys of Theros D&D book has been delayed. They say stores will have these on July 21st now.
Yeah, so that's about a month and a half delay, maybe a
Something
month
like
delay. And I would not doubt that it would get pushed back even further. D&D books in general have some production delays, just as a regular occurrence, in addition to the fact that now we have, what's happening.
Right.
So they're in no rush to get them out because no one can really get them from the local game stores anyway. I know that a lot of that stuff is going to be made available online at D&D Beyond and other retailers like that.
On June 2nd, yeah. So on June 2nd, they're going to have it on D&D Beyond and Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds and whatnot.
Cool.
But otherwise, for the real print version, you aren't going to have to wait till then, which sucks. Also, in sucking, Commander 2020 is definitely delayed. It has been allocated a lot. So when you ask for X and you get way down here on the Y of what they actually ship you, it gets rough, and there's definitely going to be separate waves of Commander 2020 coming out. Now look, I know the cards are cool and the cards are great, but if you just wait a little minute for this one, you don't have to pay, $400 a set or whatever craziness is going on eBay. It'll come back in stock. It'll be back in your local game store. It won't be $1 million. This is just because there's such a shortage right now that the prices are crazy, crazy high. And hopefully that gets fixed sooner than later. But again, this is all about logistics and moving product around.
A lot of the logistics of shipping are from everybody. I mean, I'm sure you've read the news articles about the Postal Service, let alone smaller companies whose entire businesses revolve around shipping. So,
even Amazon.
Yeah.
So that said, there was a Red Bull Untapped 2020 announcement, which is a series of qualifiers in Magic Arena. And there's going to the winner of these events gets invited to the Untapped Finals near the end of the year. They will compete with 15 other players for a prize pool of $75,000.
This looks dope.
These
events look really sweet. They're free to enter. The first qualifier is scheduled for May 16th. There are over 2,400 people who've already signed up for this.
Wow.
You can see, who's all there. Format is standard for this one. These are well run. I was looking at the hashtag in preparation for the show. They seem to offer coverage. The coverage is well received. I went on Reddit. I didn't really see any criticism about it on there. These just seem to be really well received, popular. Good payouts. I couldn't really find anything wrong with those.
Yeah, I mean, when you get redbull.com, who run big, not just esports, but just big sports events, right. I mean, it's a big deal. And so when you get the nice, big, the money behind it, it really helps out. And it seems like that's what they're doing.
Now, and again, it's just another way to keep Magic on people's minds, because normally you would have actual, Wizards events to be able to do that, but there aren't as many of those, if any, and so this is a great way to keep Magic's name in the paper. Yeah,
I mean, there's going to be 16 qualifiers. They're basically kind of like Grand Prix type events.
Sure.
Where
they've certainly got the size of a Grand Prix, 2,200 pre-registered for the international first one.
Right. So they're giving away $5,000 plus $2,000 to the winner, and so on. So $200,000 in total between all the qualifiers and the finals.
Cool.
This is dope. Somebody throwing shade on this? What is wrong with you? No. This is great. Everything about this is awesome.
Was there shade being thrown at this?
I did see some comments about the prizes and that they may not have gone low enough for some people. There was also some criticism about the times, because if I'm looking at it now, it seems to favor European players. So we in America would have to get up very, very early to play this, or stay up very, very late. But I mean, that's just sort of our
welcome to being a European for the last 15 years or whatever.
Shoes on the other foot.
NTGO,
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at the schedule, the first 6 of these are international, Germany, Spain, international, 2 more European countries. So it's a European product. You're going to have to get on their time.
And I think I saw something that said you had to have a passport to...
Yeah, to qualify for the top 16 finals, you will need a passport to get to the final event, essentially.
Yeah, this all looks great.
This sounds like what I expected online Magic events to look like when they started saying we're going to be an esport. This is what an esport looks like.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
This is what the goal is. I'm really happy with this. Big names, good organization, big money... tons of people entering, easy qualification. I mean, not easy qualification, easy to understand qualification, live finals. Like, this is what we want.
Right. This is fantastic. This is the high five of whoever was in charge of bringing esports to the front for Wizards of the Coast. This is the feather in the hat, I assure you. This was the stuff they were dreaming of 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes.
That said, we mentioned Gavin's new YouTube channel. I'm going to put it here in the chat so y'all can go there and follow it.
Check out Gavin Verhey. If you don't know who Gavin Verhey is, what are you doing? Gavin Verhey is he's the next MaRo, if you didn't know.
He's the closest thing to Doctor Who that we will... he's the closest thing to like Willy Wonka that we'll have in this mortal life. Like,
it definitely feels like he's being groomed to be the next
MaRo.
Yeah.
The face of the brand, also has a fabulous TikTok, which you should go subscribe to if you are a small child that has a TikTok.
Like my children, which watch it every day, all the time. That's how they get news and things too. It's weird.
It's an excellent application for watching white women who can't dance.
God.
If I had a nickel for every time my children tried to make me do a TikTok dance, let me tell you.
Are you doing the savage dance?
I don't know. No, it's something to go. There's this, and there's things, and there's a movement. I don't know, man. It comes fast.
I've seen too many people go wee wah wah.
I've learned a lot of things from TikTok. I like to I always do my rounds at BuzzFeed every day, and there was an article that was like, here's something we learned for there was a dental hygienist that was teaching things about like the order in which you're supposed to brush and floss on TikTok, and then there was a young lady who worked at Ulta, and she was showing people what happens when you return your makeup. So I'm not in it for like the challenges and the dances. I love just learning behind the scenes things from people.
Yeah, that stuff's great.
Yeah,
TikTok, like it or not, is some of the future we have of communication.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
All right, so moving on, Magic Arena is going to get a third historic release, the Historic Anthology, which is cool.
Yeah.
First, they noted that Historic is going to get the Jumpstart cards. I don't believe they're actually putting Jumpstart, the product, on Magic Arena, but they are going to put the cards from Jumpstart into Magic Arena, as I understand it. Historic Anthology, they didn't say all of them. It's going to have 27 cards. That's 2 more than usual.
Okay.
But they did note Phyrexian Obliterator and Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger.
Hey.
Ulamog, that got me excited. Phyrexian Obliterator doesn't really do it for me because it never did anything. Although
they did well in Modern.
Dismember won't be on Arena, right?
Yeah,
so maybe
true.
Obliterator can do something in a format that it doesn't have to live alongside Dismember for once in its unlife.
How is Historic doing on Arena? Because I don't really see anybody ever talking about it.
It's doing so well that they have made it a permanent play option to have a Historic ranked.
What's the metagame like?
Good.
Anyone know?
There's some crazy decks. I think Golos does a lot. Land of the Dead, or Field of the Dead, rather, is just as good as it always used to be.
My assumption is that a lot of Lurrus is happening. A lot of companions of various kinds in Historic. I think Obosh is actually pretty good in Historic.
Would you say it's healthy? Like a healthy format?
I honestly don't know enough about it to tell you that.
I was curious.
Right. Let's see. Some of the decks here. Mono Blue Tempo is a thing in there.
Rural mid-range mono Treasure Hunt.
Treasure Hunt.
Yeah.
Hey.
Wow. So the Treasure Hunt deck is a troll deck because it's 3 Treasure Hunts, a Thassa's Oracle, and 56 islands.
I have to say, I take back, ever since I did my Doomsday stream last Sunday, I take back everything I ever said about Thassa's Oracle because resolving one feels amazing.
Well, when you're winning the game with it, absolutely. It's insane.
There's some cool decks here. Sultai Explorer, okay.
48 Island, 4 Lonely Sandbar, 4 Mystic Sanctuary. There's your lands. I love it. That's fantastic.
Oh my god.
So Historic is its own weird animal. Anytime you say, here's the fence posts around these Magic sets, it's going to get weird at some point.
Oh god.
Which is great. Either way, in 2 days, on May 8th, you're going to know every single card in the Historic Anthology. That's going to be the day of the previews.
Cool.
You're going to same thing. You pay them like $20 and get all 4 copies of every card. And it's going to be on Arena on May 21st.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And kind of working out from there. And of course, for the communities, we want to highlight those who are making content. It's not easy, but we're here. The Astrolab podcast has debuted at the Astrolab podcast.
Astrolab.
So the Astrolab is comprised of longtime listener MTG Packfoils, Scott.
Oh, okay.
And also Joseph Dyer, who does the legacy and vintage articles for MTG Goldfish. And so those 2 gentlemen have joined forces to do a podcast. And Scott had actually DM'd me for advice shortly before they recorded their first episode. And I told him, just, be yourself, be natural. I always like to pretend I'm looking at somebody when I'm doing an audio podcast. So I always try to find a spot on the wall or a spot on my monitor. And I told him to give himself a few episodes because, most podcasts need some time to find their footing. And I was like, you 2 are going to be great. And so they have a logo, they have a Twitter account, and I think they're going to do some great things.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't familiar with the formation of Magic Mics, which is this podcast you're watching presently, we started this because Evan was like, hey, we'll give it a trial run of, what was it, 12 episodes? Oh, no, it was 4 episodes at first. And then 12, and then later extended it to 12 after it was like, I don't think that we got enough flavor. We don't really know what we're doing.
Month.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my God.
I never heard back as to whether or not we were going to continue. So I just like kept showing up on Wednesday and just. But at this point, I think it's a pretty solid bet that we'll keep making these until they tell me otherwise. So yeah. So
I'll just never forget the night I got the phone call. Like I was getting ready to go to bed. It was like on a Tuesday, and I got a Google call and all I saw was Evan Irwin, and I'm like, oh no, what did I do? What did I say? Don't sue me. I don't have anything. And I remember just answering the call, and it's these two grinning like idiots, and they're just like, hi, we want to do a podcast with you. And I'm just like, and I'm like, okay.
Right.
And then, Evan spent a good couple of months just getting it ready, just in terms of the graphics and everything. We had no idea what was going to happen. And then, I remember the show came out as I was on the plane to GP Vegas. And by the time I had landed, people had already watched it, and I was able to see the impact because I had done the deck tease and some people knew who I was, but Vegas was just unreal. Where like the minute I walked in the door, people had already seen it and knew what was going on. And I was like, oh, I think there's something here. And
I remember the first episode, I was on the back porch of one of the houses that a bunch of people rented. And Monty DeVuti was barbecuing. And making a bunch of racket. And I was like, dang it, Monty, cut that out. And like Christian Calcano was making a bunch of noise. Other names I can drop. But yeah, this is, it took a while for us to find, we got kind of lucky that we knew what we kind of wanted to do to begin with.
Well, we were all veterans. Like that
we were
was
all
one of the
veterans
things,
at that point,
because that's why I approached yourself and approached Aaron. You're funny, and Aaron, you have a unique outlook, period. And no one blocks like you. And so, that's how we mingle that all together into, and here's some magic news. And that's what we do.
I love going back and looking at just like how, I know for me personally, I've just had so many looks through the years where it's like I was a redhead, I didn't have a great camera, then I got a better camera, then I became a brunette, then I had my gherkin phase where like I had my big poof on the top, and that happened for a while, and then I just discovered makeup, so I had some really unfortunate lipstick going on, and so I love just going back and being like, just seeing what I was wearing, seeing if I had straight hair, curly hair,
for me,
angles, lighting.
For me, it's where's Ruben this week? Right?
Yeah, because you've moved how many times?
I'm a vagabond, roustabout, can't be tamed.
You gotta dodge child support.
Yeah, exactly. I can't have them find me. But yeah, I've streamed from different area codes all over the place. Just because I can't hold down
I've got shows.
I got shows in different area codes. See, that was the pun that I needed, and you did.
There we go.
There we go.
We did it. All right. Yeah. So let's move on here to some desperate ravings. Oh boy, probably the juiciest topic of the week. There was a young man named Luca. How do you say that? I'm not saying it. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Jakobovits?
Jakobovits it is. Jakobovits, sure.
Okay.
Luca, as I will know them.
Adorable.
Absolutely said they made top 8 of a Magic Fest online weekly championship. Congrats. Their prizes included $500 and an invitation to the Pro Tour, or Players Tour. Today, I was contacted by CFB and told that because I was not 16 years of age, he says I am 14, I would not receive my $500 or the invite. I am devastated.
So here's where it gets tricky. So prior to, and I've never signed up for one of these events, so maybe one of you can tell me, apparently it is in the fine print. And I'm not saying he had this coming, because let's be honest, no one reads the fine print, so I'm not faulting him for that. What I'm saying is, do you guys know where the fine print is? Like, do you know where he would see this? Like does CFB need to make this more obvious? Because it seems like no one, while it is in the fine print, no one knew about this.
For all intents and purposes, so here's the question, right? Here's the big question, right? If you reward this kid, because of online gambling laws, there's no way he's getting the money. That's just not happening. Do you reward this kid in any way, kind of sort of encouraging people under 16 to play in these events? And then I go, so the very young people are wanting to play Magic in a very competitive environment. Don't we want to foster that? Don't we want them to be? Exactly. There's going to be a next generation of Magic players.
You can't plug Dana Fisher and make this a thing. You can't have it both ways. You can't because Dana's opened the door for other children as well to sort of follow in her footsteps, as she should. Like, that's amazing. I love seeing kids on the Pro Tour. Milan is another one. I think he's 14, was he?
Well, think of it this way. If Dana Fisher had wrote this tweet, what would have happened?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a sucky situation, and I feel for Luca. I really do. And I'm not trying to use the fine print as a way to one-up him, because there were some really crummy replies that were like, well, you didn't read the fine print, girl, screw you. I'm not saying that at all. I don't know where... Usually when it's an issue of fine print, that means that that CFB or the credit card company, whoever, needs to make that information more available so that you don't have to bury yourself in legalese to see these things. And so maybe they just need to push that disclaimer to the forefront so that people do know that before they click the button. And if they are already doing that,
and
then
kids
that
are going to be
creates
kids, and I've never read terms and conditions either.
I haven't either.
Right. So,
Same.
like, I understand, and I understand those are like letter of the law, and derp, and who needs to learn a lesson. I'm like, okay, dude, sure, but like,
No, I don't think
can
it's
life
that
not be quite the black and white?
Yeah, no, it's because it's not. I just think that information should be more easily provided to, like they used to do with credit card statements. Like they used to. Credit card statements have come a long way in years because of things like this. Where
Like, I would argue that giving this kid an invite, a special invite, removed from the event, so there's no legal problems that you gave it to him as part of whatever. He's a Magic player.
They invited Kenny from South Park. They can certainly invite Luca from Twitter.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and is there this big fear that like 12-year-olds are like coming for the tournaments? Like, what?
Some of these kids are good.
And they are good.
I mean,
but again, and that's the Dana Fishers of the world. They want that. They fostered that. They've done specials and spots and
kids,
articles on them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They
Do you want
to
kids in your game or not? Right?
Well, I
in
think
your
the issue
children's
is
card game.
I think the issue comes with it being online. Like, if this was a paper event, Luca would have no problem, right?
Absolutely.
Right. It's the fact that it's being done online and like you said, gambling
also,
and
not for nothing. How old do you have to be to have a Twitter account? I'm not trying to be that guy, but
didn't Dana run into an issue with that too?
Yeah.
13 was it?
13, I think, is the line,
because Adam runs Dana's account.
There you
But
go.
in any case, my point is,
right.
there are lots of topics to come to bring up with this. One of my favorites, go back to this old chestnut. Let's bring back this Junior Super Series.
Oh,
Let's put these kids somewhere where they can win scholarships instead of cash, right? Which is better for Wizards anyway. They'd rather do that. So going back to something we were talking about earlier, why can't we have our adult themed show or have kids? Like, you got to pick one.
Okay.
Like, if you were to create something like that, like, looking back just on, the long tail of Magic history, getting rid of the Junior Super Series, never doing anything close ever to with any sort of youth program with Magic is kind of the weirdest thing.
It's very strange
to get rid of.
You know who came from the JSS? Gavin Verhey.
Do other games do this? Like with their...
The JSS?
With their youngins? Like just...
I'm not sure.
Chess.
I think Pokemon gives out some amount of scholarship stuff, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, this is, again, I understand those are just like, he didn't read the rules, screw him. And then I understand those you can't
I didn't say that, to be clear.
No, I know. And I'm just saying, that's the people on Twitter. How you doing? Hi, Internet. I get this all the time. So, like...
What's up, Twitter?
Because when I throw my sort of hat in the ring or whatever, but at the same time, I just feel like this kid did well. It's really difficult to do well in Magic.
Yeah,
the kid's crushed. Obviously, yes, he did something dumb. Yes, you could technically reward him.
He also worded it better than most adults. Most 20-year-olds would be like just this primal screech with caps everywhere and like
F Wizards and screw this. And I'll never play this.
He wasn't. He handled it very well. He said, "I am devastated." Like this is I like.
This was a well done. I wasn't writing this well at 14. I assure you.
Evan would have been like, "Hey, y'all.
Hey, what's up?"
And also, I assume this kid can pronounce his own last name, which Evan certainly can't. So.
Oh, I can, but you have to instruct me. All right, so just don't know these things.
Right.
Either way, best of luck to Luca.
We're rooting for you, Luca.
I hope you do well.
And don't let this get you down.
Yeah. With Magic's got a long time to live, and so do you. So, next up here, we've got the Legacy format.
Oh, not just Legacy, girl.
Under
every format.
Under 2 weeks. I'll give you 2 weeks before Lurrus is banned in Legacy and Charizard banned in Vintage. Like Flintstones bam, get out of here. Never, not one
2
copy.
weeks?
2 weeks. I'll give you 2
Boy.
weeks.
So
Over,
Legacy, there was a Legacy PTQ. The top 32, I believe 29 of these card decks had Lurrus in them.
Yep.
Last time I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
And there was a
13,
Zerta
14, 15,
in second
16,
place.
17, 18, 19, 20,
Sure,
22.
Zerta makes sense, but
Yeah. Vintage, the top 32 was 34% Lurrus PO,
Yeah.
Paradoxical Outcomes, 72% Lurrus in general, and then Dredge is completely gone
Yeah.
from the Vintage format. Like, you cannot find it. Like, that is how
Yeah.
bad these matchups are. It's just
I
completely
think that
eliminated
the
from the
most
format.
played cards were. I saw a tweet. I think it was Black Lotus, Lurrus, Mox Sapphire, Deadweight.
Yeah, and the format has even evolved. Like, people started running null rods as a way to fight against the free baubles, Urzas and Mishras
Yeah.
in Legacy and Vintage. So now they're running Abundant Growth, which for those playing along at home is a crappy green enchantment that just makes your lands make different color mana, and you get to draw a card. Like, the way that these decks are evolving, they're evolving so quickly that it's just really hard to pin them down, and it just seems to be getting worse. And I was the person that wanted to give them time. But I've been in the Discord, I've been in the group chats where people have tried to fight this, and it's just not looking good for the Resistance.
Yep. And even in Standard, other companions have been, in addition to Zerta, which obviously goes infinite with like Basalt Monolith and some other interesting stuff in the older formats, and Lurrus, which is, Lurrus. And in Standard, it's mostly Yorion is the problem. People are just playing 80 card control decks because a lot of the cards can be replaced, and there's so much fixing and selection and stuff like that, that Yorion is almost as big a problem in Standard and in Pioneer as Lurrus is in those older formats.
Look,
almost.
Here's an idea. Wizards, you have a new promo card, all right? It is a promo version of Deep Analysis, except instead of Masticore's head,
It's
there's Lurrus's head.
I like it.
Right
That's nice.
there. This specimen seems to be broken.
Same flavor text. Yep, I love it.
Yes. Yeah, it is ridiculous.
It's just, it was never meant to be played. I mean, Lurrus was never meant to be played on turn one, like it can be in, it often is in Vintage, and like it can be in Legacy. It was never meant to be paired with Lion's Eye Diamond or Black Lotus the way that it is right now. It might be fine in Modern. I mean, it's really Lurrus Burn that's kind of everywhere, but they're still casting it on turn 3. Like, I think there's time to do things in Modern, but in Legacy and Vintage, you just cannot do this. It's just not.
You can't rebuy Black Lotus and think that's okay and have that every game in your hand, and you can't do anything about it, and you can't stop it, make them discard it, make them exile, do nothing.
Stupid.
Busted.
2 weeks though.
2 weeks.
Wizard, see, that's
Over,
less about.
I think they'll take longer.
I think it'll take longer too.
I wish they would do it that quickly. History has shown us they won't.
I agree with that take.
Yeah.
They'll let things get degenerate, and then the degeneracy will try to undegenerate
Think
the
about
degeneracy.
how long Oko lasted before.
So I think what needs to happen is, typically what happens in a broken format is you start to see the weird decks that come out just to fight it. Like, I remember when Eldrazi Winter was going on, Loam Pox was good because
Showed up out of nowhere.
you could grind, you could pitch Vengeful Theros, you could cast Necroplasm, and Necroplasm could destroy. So you start seeing these really weird, like, freak ass decks that like only happen in broken formats because they're the only thing that can fight the Scourge. And so I don't think we're quite at that point yet. I think people are still using the same old weapons.
Everything is fine though. Everything's fine. Right?
Well, no, it's not. But I mean, I just, you're not really seeing these weird decks that come to fight the deck that you would never play anywhere else. And, and then I think it'll be
right. I think that's what sort of Wizards is waiting on.
Yeah.
Is, we want to see.
They're waiting on like the mono white prison deck. That is the only thing that beats this.
Like there is a rubber band snapback effect to a sick, awesome deck, but man, the things it does in those older formats are just nasty.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's rough. So we'll see. I can definitely understand them not wanting to ban it before the paper is released, which is totally understandable.
Right.
Or just setting the precedent. I mean, when's the last time something was banned in Vintage? I mean, that was
banned,
Scheherazade.
Yeah.
Which was
that and anti-cards or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and Chaos Orb,
yeah,
stuff like that. So either way, this specimen appears to be broken, and we'll see how broken it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Mark Rosewater addressed it a bit on Blogatong. This would be his Tumblr. Now, look, I know.
What is Tumblr?
Tumblr, what is it these days? These days, it's a weird blog thing.
That thing I deleted when all the smut went away.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's where we were. Either way, this is a reaction to someone saying like, "Hey, the companion is undermined. The variance from one game to the next, stuff like that." And I've already come out and said companions are a mistake, so whatever.
Yeah.
But he did note here that people called for them to get rid of standard when it was introduced. People wanted 6th edition rules removed when they came out.
Right.
Double face cards were the death of the game.
Yeah.
And yada yada yada. Players react strongly to new and different things. Trust me, I know. And I also like to, I think it's just more like entertaining, honestly, in a raw sense, for me to create what I feel is my opinion about it and put a stake in the ground. And I don't like to be wishy-washy. I like to say, look, if I'm wrong, I'll admit I was wrong. For example, happy to eat the crow on the fact that Ikoria paper sales are awesome. Ikoria paper sales are awesome. And I was super scared that the digital release early would mess up the paper. No such thing. Ikoria is crushing it. We would be in War of the Spark, Dominaria sale type situations if the world was still open right now, but it's not. So it's doing gangbusters.
I do take issue with one of his points. He says players tend to overcompensate at first as everyone's focused on the new thing. If after the dust settles, and remember the vast majority of Magic players haven't played with the cards yet, I would agree with that if there were other events to look forward to, like if there were opens and if there were GPs and if there were PTQs, then you could say, well, let's give these players more time to play with these cards. But this is all we have right now. You have data right now on Magic Online and Arena that you can look at. There are no other events outside of these that are going to change that. This is your data right now. Well, and so for him saying, oh, well, people need more time to play with it. They have nowhere else to play with it other than these 2 venues, and they're telling you what you need to know.
Wizards introduced the collector pack. The idea you're selling a $25 booster or whatever. All right, they did that. And the first was Eldraine. Is that correct? I believe it was Eldraine. Was the first collector booster, and Eldraine sales were like here for the collector booster. Okay, Theros sales were like down there.
Yeah.
Theros sales for collector booster were complete garbage, like actual dumpster fire. Sold out of Ikoria collector boosters. They are gone. You will not find them anywhere. They have left the building. Whoever's idea it was to get Godzilla involved with Magic, take that person out for a steak dinner, whatever they had to do to seal that deal, because I'm telling you, it worked. It did exactly what they wanted to do. These cards are flying off the shelves. Everything is gone. Everything is sold. We're getting, we're getting freaking withheld on Commander 20. That's also done freaking gangbusters. Like, we're having a sick banner year here in Magic cards, and then like people are complaining of the standards power level. People seem to be having fun to me. Everyone seems to be jumping in one way or another. Like, okay.
I mean, I'm having a grand old time in Limited. Every constructed format seems kind of miserable to me. I'm seeing tweets daily.
I play a lot more Limited. Let's put it that way. It's a very good
Ikoria draft is great, and it's very weird to me that I am I'm a big favorite to never physically draft Ikoria, but I will probably draft more Ikoria than any other set because I'm stuck in the house and I'm bored in the house, bored. And I'm playing a ton of Arena Limited, but I really don't want to play either Historic or Standard, either Best of 1 or Best of 3, because they seem miserable.
They seem a little bit rough, and mainly like it feels like you find mono Yorion or mono red. Yeah. Essentially in the ranked queues for the best of 1 and the best of 3. If you're playing the Yorion deck versus the Yorion deck, it takes forever.
It does take forever.
And you got to get that weird who gets the Elspeth Conquers Death advantage thing going, which is also kind of miserable. So, I've definitely been playing a lot of Limited. This is one of the best Limited environments I've ever played. This is like top 5.
Now that people realize that they shouldn't be passing the cycling payoffs as late as they are, like that first week when you were getting like 7th pick Zenith Flares and like 10th pick Reptilian Reflections, that was when I hit Legend in like no time at all.
I made a lot of gems there for a while, like for the first week or so.
Easy.
It was ridiculous.
But now that people understand that you can't just do that, and you actually have to play, black occasionally or green occasionally, it's a little bit more balanced.
Sure.
People are valuing some of the cards a little bit differently. Dawn of Hope is a big one whose value has gone up because being able to destroy an enchantment while also having other value in the game is a big deal. Wilt for exactly the same way.
Wilt's
I've
great.
seen more copies of those. Like Shredded Sails is another one that has done exactly the same thing to be able to take care of like the Dreamtail Heron stuff.
Yeah.
So
like there's the really cool.
There
One of
was
the cool
a
things about
metagame to the limited format.
Oh, sure. One of the cool things I've found about Ikoria is that they don't make bad cards anymore. Everything has its place. Even that 3-mana 1/5 dude in black, totally awesome
Boom
against the aggro
Penguin?
decks.
Yeah, man.
Guy will do the trick. You can mutate him on him all day.
I think I played every single card that is in the set in a main deck of a best of one draft, except for Plummet, which is because I don't play much green. Like I just almost never end up in green. And the decks that I do end up in green, I should have Plummet in my deck usually, but I just don't. It's less on purpose and more happenstance. But I've played every other garbage piece of crap, common, uncommon, rare, and mythic in this set. I think. Actually, Song of Creation. I didn't play that card. That card's real hard to make work in a 40-card format. But
someone played that against me, and I beat them to death.
Yeah,
so don't play that card.
Unless you've also got a Yorion, probably don't want to be drawing 8 cards a turn. But other than that one, I think that, everything, everything's good, everything's playable, everything's at least passable, which is a hallmark of a great format.
I am all about the life that we are living with uncommons at rare power levels.
Yeah.
It is great. I love rare uncommons. They have super cool swings in the game, super powerful stuff, really rewarding payoffs for going in certain colors. Absolutely fantastic. So, let's say that there was a conspiracy theory.
Ooh, tinfoil hat time?
Let's say Mark Rosewater goes to Tolarian Community College and talks to the professor and says more or less the same thing for 45 minutes, which is paper is cool. We love paper. Paper's fine. Paper's great. We're not moving away from paper. Magic the Gathering had a starter kit.
There we go.
From last, I don't know if the last few years or whatever, but they've had some sort of starter product, for a long time. Well, they're redoing it this time, one more time, and it's going to be called the Magic Arena Starter Kit. So if we could just get away from that gathering stuff and get your butt up to the digital ranks where the printing costs are 0 and the dollars flow like wine, okay, I'm just saying, Wizards, it's moves like this that make it seem like you don't really care about paper that much. I'm not saying paper's dead, not saying anything wrong with paper. Like I just said, paper sales are great. But your starter kit is go play our digital version, please. Thank you. That's
Speaking
a little
of the professor,
weird.
Did you see that remix video of him just saying thickness for like 2 minutes?
Maximum thickness.
No, but that's
That was-
amazing.
It is
That was
amazing.
very uncomfortable.
It was 1 minute of pure hilarity. Ruben,
Him like sliding cards
sounds like
in
a
his
full
sleeve.
minute of thickness. That's what it sounds like.
It's got a techno beat to it. It was wild.
on that thickness train, let me tell you. It was super funny though. I like
Working on my thickness.
thickness. Moving on here. There was over here to Going Infinite. We had one of these in a hot minute. There was a tweet from Seth,
Better known as Saffron Olive.
better known as Saffron Olive. Thank you very much from DG Goldfish. And he was like, "What if they'd reprinted sets from like long ago? I want to draft Innistrad, but I can't pay $500 a freaking box or whatever crazy amount it is these days. But I would like to have that environment, and not just in a digital form. What if me and some friends of mine would get together and draft some Innistrad? That'd be super dope. So what if they did something like a 15th year anniversary printing?" It would definitely, it would be the exact same set, magic backs, whatever. On the box, it would definitely show and say something like, like Nintendo does like their classics or whatever when they do their reprints or greatest hits or whatever for PlayStation. You would have something that clearly denoted this was like another run around the track.
Yep.
And on the cards, on the front of the cards, it'd be tournament legal. But at the bottom on the, where the set symbol or whatever, the set line at the bottom it would say something like, 15th anniversary, whatever. Otherwise, it'd be the same set in the exact same order and collation that they had to start with, so you'd have the exact same experience. Could do the same thing with the original Ravnica stuff. Could do this, essentially all the way back until the reserve list went away. But that idea I think is really interesting, and there's an entire category of Magic player that would love to play an Innistrad draft again with real cards and not just hope to God it's on Arena on one day or it's on Magic Online that particular day that they want to draft that particular set.
And there's also, I mean, there's something very primal about holding Magic cards in your hand and old Magic cards in your hand. You know, it's like when Anton Ego takes a bite of the Ratatouille and flashes back to being 10 years old. It's like I open up a pack of Magic cards and there's a foil Odyssey Shadowmorge Infiltrator, and I flash back, and I'm 14-year-old Ruben again at Darts USA at my friend Sam's birthday party because we decided to have an Invasion or Odyssey booster draft, right? Or I open up a pack of Planar Chaos, and there's a Damnation in the pack, and I flash back to college when Nick Miller and I were sitting across from each other after buying a box of Planar Chaos, and I opened up a foil Damnation in like the third pack.
Wow.
You know, stuff like that. I think that there is something very inherently, you tap into something when you do that, and especially if they go with the old style of printing, the old foils, like you do everything old school.
Everything old school.
I think that's the way to do it.
I'll even make it one better. I think that would be a terrific Secret Lair product. And this one, if you did it Secret Lair, if you did it through the stores, like we talked about, and everybody can pre-order their booster boxes of Innistrad, I'll wait 4 months if I can get a booster box of Innistrad at the end of it, just like the old school, and I pay like $90 or $100 for it, and not friggin' $600 or whatever it is.
That would be cool.
That's a way everybody could win along that chain. You could even have events in the store built around those packs because, you know, the store should be able to buy some too. There's a whole lot of win-wins here. It's reprints back into the market, yada yada. Like if you did Zendikar, you get the enemy fetches in there. Like, you know, they're really.
But they have like the stamp. They have like the Secret Lair stamp on them. That's the only change. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Otherwise, they're tournament legal cards. Like I'm telling you, you need to, if you have not experienced Zendikar draft. It is dumb. It is the fastest, most insane format you will ever play. It is blistering. We're talking turn 4, turn 5 kills all the time. You should be able to have that in your life and not have to pay out the nose for it. That's all I'm saying. That'd be fun. All right. Let's move on here to don't really bother about splash damage, Legends of Runeterra. It's kind of a thing, but now it's kind of a...
I haven't heard anything about Legends of Runeterra in a long time.
The only people I've seen tweet about it are people who played a hand in making it.
Right. It's from some of the Magic R&D members. And again, sort of, I was saying the saying of the pre-show was like, you know, played it. I went through. I bought some stuff. You know, I threw $10 or $15 or whatever at its way. Opened some cards, built some decks, played the things around, and then kind of felt like I had experienced what it had to offer, and I went right on back to Magic because Magic is not one single experience like Runeterra is right now. Now, of course, Runeterra could change, but right now they've got the weird sort of sealed drafty thing they do, which is very Hearthstone-esque, and then you got Constructed, and that's kind of like what you got. Whereas Magic, you've got Brawl, you've got Historic, you've got Standard, you've got Limited. You can play Limited plays in different ways. You can play in game 3 queues or 1 game queues. Like, it's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of have your Magic, and I just think it's a more exciting game. Period. Like, there's just more crazy cool stuff going on, and that's just Runeterra might get there one day, but you know, from now they're going to kind of chug along, I think. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and turn the corner to the finisher. Today, we celebrate the revenge of the 6th. After May the 4th be with you and the universe-wide positivity that it embodies, today is all about embracing your dark side. So tell me, what is your dark origin story, Ruben?
I have to change my background. Hold on.
Oh, my God. It has to be a multimedia experience, y'all.
Yeah. Well, you need the full... The chest hair isn't going to do it by itself. You got to do
the full roots.
You got to get
the chest hair is what
full breastlers.
It puts the foot in the door, but you have to keep it open.
Right, exactly. Yeah. All right, here we go.
You talk about the breastlers. We got a pre-show for that.
All right,
all right.
We did it. Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Rubius the Wise? I thought not. It's a story May the 4th wouldn't tell you. It's a 6th legend. The story goes that old Ruby missed his 3rd land drop a few too many times. It's ironic. He could save others from Manus Crew, but not himself.
How are you saying? Oh, because of Mox Ruby. Is that how you're saving
Mox
them?
Ruby is because...
Okay. Aaron?
Don't Don't dig. Listen.
It's fine.
It's a
fine.
joke,
Aaron,
all right?
Aaron, go. Aaron, go.
Well, I don't like land. It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere, which is why Darth Estrus is coming to execute Order Dredge 66.
Nice, nice. Well, look, if you only knew the power of the dark side, Mayor Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. Join me and I will complete your training because I, Darth Orange, am your father. Hashtag 5 kids.
Very possible.
Hey.
Run that one out. As that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me, and wear your masks.
Wear your mask, please. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you.
Move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-host, Aaron Campbell, and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching or listening. I hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at magicmikespodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at magicmikespodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody. And now we raid Air Bubbles Cosplay. Let's do some raiding, y'all.
Yay.
Hey, we're raiding it. We're doing it.
Next week we'll have a good version of this show. Well, I promise. I promise you we'll actually be professional and
We'll get it
I'll wear a
together.
bra.
we'll show up on time and
Well, we'll all wear bras. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
Ruben Brosler.
Perky Wrestler.
Perky Brosler.
Turkey wrestlers, y'all. Say hello to Air Bubble Sports. See you later. And we're out.
Yay, we did it.
We did it. That was neat.
Okay, stopping my recording. Stopping my recording.
Stop recording.
Stopping
Please
my
export. I will
recording.
see you guys
Stopping
on
my
Monday.
recording. Stopping my recording. Stopping my recording.
Night.
Stopping my recording. Stopping my recording. Stopping my recording.